should a legal client use artificial intelligence?
Whether a legal client should use artificial intelligence depends on the specific needs and circumstances of the client. AI can offer several benefits, but there are also considerations to keep in mind. Benefits of using AI in legal contexts. 1. Efficiency. AI can help streamline processes like document review, legal research, and contract analysis, saving time and reducing costs. 2. Accuracy. AI tools can analyze large amounts of data quickly and with a high degree of accuracy, reducing the likelihood of human error. 3. 24/7 availability. AI can provide assistance at any time, which can be especially useful for tasks like tracking case progress or managing documents.
Are you sold?
No, that's fair.
That's fair, but she couldn't get the Manchurian chicken here. She was honest.
That's okay.
So,
I mean, thank God humans are still needed
yeah,
for something.
exactly.
Yeah, no, this is a question now which is really foisted to the forefront because of that case where that one lawyer unfortunately used ChatGPT and produced a motion, and in their factum had cited 2 cases.
Which didn't exist.
Didn't exist.
It's a small problem.
Yeah, and it was very problematic. And then, as you've said in a previous podcast, we've had a client who took their fact scenario and ran it through ChatGPT, which is sort of robbed of its solicitor-client privilege and everything else.
Just a tad.
Leaving that aside, but it came up with a very erroneous analysis.
Right.
Where does AI fit in to the legal field, and then more specifically for us into criminal law? And you like AI.
I love AI. I've spent the past almost a week doing a deep dive into a number of platforms that I've been using for maybe a year and watching them evolve. And the amount of productivity that can be achieved with AI it's unbelievable. Like, people have no idea what's coming on the horizon.
Give an example. You were talking about a few.
I could put into a prompt, once you learn how to prompt.
Right.
And
Well, garbage in, garbage out, right?
That's right. And I learned how to prompt using Claude and ChatGPT.
Who's Claude?
Claude is a competitor to
Okay.
ChatGPT.
I get the name
Anthropic.
straight.
Yeah.
Okay.
And there's a number of...
Is Claude French-Canadian?
Must be.
No, it's definitely not.
Sounds a bit, but...
And they're all a little different. They all have different skill sets, and one's better than another. There's AIs that I use for video production, AIs that I use for audio production. I'm in the process of doing Stephen Hicks's next season of his podcast. I'm using AI as part of that process as well. So it's quite amazing. It's almost like if you figure out how you can systematize the different AIs, it can do the work of 15 people, depending on the type of work that you're doing. Mm-hmm. That might be a little bit different in the legal context, but from my perspective, I would see it as an invaluable tool for research, the discovery part of it. Because you can just take documents or sections of documents, throw it in AI, have it scan, and spit back what's going on here. What I have used it for this week is... part of the production stuff I'm doing is for music. So I created the music and theme for some of the podcasts that I do, and I want to refine things, I want to do things different. So I used ChatGPT and Cloud to teach me how to prompt for music. And the funniest one I posted the other day was, I said, give me a song about the trucker convoy in a classic rock, early 70s style, Pink Floyd or the Eagles type style.
Oh, wow.
And boom, I sent it to a friend of mine, Pubby, who's a massive fan of 70s rock. Yeah. And he was shocked. He's like, who's that by? I'm like, it's not by anybody. It's very
That's
convincing.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I think...
like, I envision a future where certain areas of law will almost be obsolete to have as many lawyers as we do now. So, many real estate transactions, many basic corporate transactions, estates,
basic wills.
Once you have AI much more fine-tuned and a good database of legal precedent, which is, a significant basis of corporate law, where, agreements have
Templates,
been
yeah.
drafted. There's templates, there's standard clauses. Of course, you have to amend and change depending upon the circumstances. But you could have, AI really assist and narrow down your work hours and how many people you need on a file very significantly with AI. I absolutely can see that happen. And so for example, if you produce a long agreement and you need that agreement reviewed and edited, AI can do that for you in seconds, extremely accurately. You can imagine in the older days going over an agreement, you go blind by page 200. Some of them were long documents.
But there's an asterisk there. The problem with AI is its accuracy, garbage in and garbage out.
Right.
And what it's doing is it's scraping the internet. And depending what it's scraping, if it's scraping bad data, that's why
I'm saying you have to create a database of not garbage. It has to be serious legal precedent that has been drafted, used. It's it exists. If we were in corporate or tax law or whatever, we'd have access to this stuff.
Well, many of the online legal databases are now implementing the AI because they have that perfect base of case law. But now they're implementing an overlay of AI. So help me find a case on this that shows that, versus the olden days when you type in impaired over 80 defenses and you get 3,000 cases like we discussed.
Yeah, so it's two things. One, I can see it working very efficiently and basically eliminating a lot of jobs, because when you have that very robust, accurate database, you're not going to need that many lawyers to do this type of work. You'll need one to review it and determine its accuracy, but you're not going to need as many as you did before. Two, legal research. I mean, you talk about the old days. I mean, we go back to having books that you had to go into to do legal research. And so you go into Quick Law or Westlaw and you type in search terms, you will get, a broad range of cases on your topic. But with AI, you can be very focused and surgical as to the issue that you're researching.
Yeah, it's terrifying. I'll never forget a question during articling. It was from my principal. Oh, hi, Michael. I need you to get a copy of an article. I think it was the Australian Criminal Law Journal, 1970 to 73. Can you just go find that?
Oh, wow.
As I stumbled across the street to the Great Library.
And how long did that take you to get?
Oh, at least a day.
Yeah, that would be 30 seconds.
Then finding out that
and now that would be different because everything's online now.
Right.
But now with artificial intelligence,
it's another
this will
layer.
happen. I see it as having great value in refining legal research, but not supplanting the human element of doing legal research.
No, I think, listen, you're the lawyer, I'm not, but the exposure I have
You
to
have
the
much
legal
greater
profession,
exposure to it than we do, so.
Yeah, I think it's for the regular monotonous tasks, filling out the same forms over and over again, real estate law, insurance law, that sort of stuff. That's one area, right? Your area of law is a little bit specific because every case has nuance.
I was going to say
very
it's
detailed.
nuanced.
Yeah. But to build up to that, I think there's an opportunity for efficiency. The problem, I think, is going to be for a lot of people. Scott Adams was talking about this when he started down the AI. Many of us online have started down the AI rabbit hole. Initially, it made everything take six times longer. It was very slow and monotonous. There was a limited number of characters. You had to copy and paste stuff. It was giving you the wrong results and whatever. I think now where we're at with ChatGPT 4 or 4.5, whichever one we're at right now, I just had an article published in Zero Hedge. Normally, when I do an article for my Substack, I'm going to give myself a day to do it. I had this done in an hour and a half because I was utilizing that tool just to kind of refine the work and to polish it a little bit better. It knows my style. I've kind of programmed it to understand how I want to convey a message. And boom, this one was super quick. So now, I have 5 different articles now in queue that I did that entire day, which I would not have been able to do.
Are you
before.
able to personalize it to your style?
Yeah, yes and no. It's still the early days. We're still at version 1.0. So I've tried, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And I think that's going to be, that's part of the problem. That's the part that takes longer, because now you really got to go over it methodically. But you do that with other lawyers and paralegals that work for you. You always got to go over their work.
100%.
Yes, you're already doing that. But I think it's going to make it on their end a little bit quicker. But the problem is learning all the tools. That's why I just spent 5 days I tried 30 different platforms for different purposes. And I've already had a year's worth of exposure to AI platforms. I've had a computer since I was 3 years old. I've grown up with computers.
Right.
And even with me, it was a very, very strict, deep learning curve to get to the point where I could produce something that I thought was professional enough. But I think I'm there. And I would advise any firm, large, big, small, whatever, you need to start learning it now as it's evolving, because you don't want to jump in when your competition is already implemented it at the early stages, and now you're competing against that.
Okay, so you kind of know what we do, what we're about. Where could you see it fitting in what's called 1.0?
Well, we just did a couple of things in your office, right? What was that case that thing you asked AI?
Well, I just asked it to explain the co-conspirator's exception to the hearsay rule.
That's right.
So basically, it just gave us the definition of that and how it applies.
Yeah, but remember, I asked you, let's get a question that's so nuanced and specific that most lawyers wouldn't even know right off the top of their head. And let's see if we can trip it up, and it did. It figured it out right away.
Most lawyers who practice would know this because you learn it, but it's something that you might not expect
A rookie lawyer to know.
a rookie lawyer to know or an AI to necessarily spit out. But it was accurate.
It was accurate, yeah.
But that's where I say that it helps with legal research. So if you need the case law on how this exception applies, how hearsay applies, how prior consistent statements apply in a court, it could be done in a way that it would draw on accurate cases, real cases, and provide a memo very quickly outlining exactly how the principles apply with the appropriate case law, which would make it very easy to then turn around and have a factum or have the legal memo that you need so that you're able to go into court and argue it.
It's a good starting point.
I absolutely think that is one of the ways that can really help. And it's a lot better than getting all the cases and then drafting out
I'm
your
waiting
memo.
for the but, because I'm going to challenge the but. Go.
Give them the butts.
I'm worried about dumbing people. I'm worried about that movie WALL-E. Remember that cartoon?
I love Wally.
Or Idiocracy. How about Idiocracy?
Yeah,
Do we have
never.
that Peter Gabriel song at the? I really like that Peter. And you're just all floating around on these chairs, not doing anything for yourself, and that part of the joy and beauty about what we do is the learning and the development of legal principles, and implementing it in our arguments and changing law sometimes, and then crafting our arguments factually according to what we have. And it's this overall growth over the course of years and decades to when you become, really a great lawyer, God willing. And that journey is wonderful, and you need all that hard, difficult work in order to give you that ability. It's like, you have to do maybe 1,000 valve replacements before you become that slick of a surgeon doing that type of work. It's the same for us, and it's what gives this business some intrinsic pleasure to us. And I'm afraid that if we become over-reliant on really easy research and really easy writing,
Okay.
we're just going to be creating,
BJ, go.
Yeah, let me give you a framing that might help the way I see it. Some of the tools I was just using over the weekend were music tools. Now, I play a bunch of instruments. I played music since I was 3 years old. So I play cello, piano, and guitar. And because of that, because I have an understanding of music, it became a lot, maybe not easier for me, but in order to develop a prompt that was exactly what I wanted, I knew the time signature, I knew the key that I wanted it to be in, I knew when I wanted to, an arpeggio, that sort of thing, right?
That's not pasta.
No, it's the cheese you put on.
It's the cheese.
Arpeggio.
Right. You're making me hungry.
Yeah, it's a anyways.
Yeah, I know
the point
it is. I took music.
Okay, so the point is that expertise that you have gets reflected in the prompt. So the prompt is not, I think we get in this idea that it's a one-line question like you're using Google search. It's not. You can have a prompt that's 6 pages long that outlines the case. These are the people. This is the defendant.
This, not
These are the
that.
arguments. These are the arguments that are failed. These are the good arguments. So your expertise as a lawyer can be reflected in a better prompt than somebody who is just out of law school.
So only
that will
only
draft
after
it.
30 years should you be able to use AI.
Well, no, it just means you'll be able to use it more effectively.
Yeah.
Because your prompt will build
That's
on your
not my
experience.
fear. That's not my fear. My
What
fear,
would it fear? Why are you so negative?
my fear
He's
is
afraid
twofold.
of young lawyers becoming a crutch.
I am delighted that young lawyers reach out to us.
Yeah.
I'm delighted when they reach out to us to speak about their cases and want to meet for coffee or scotch and talk about the case so that we can help them. I had that available to me when I was a young lawyer with John Rosen, Earl Levy, Lou Silver, Erwin Casabrocchi, a whole bunch of people, and we could talk and learn, and it was great, and mentoring is a lot of fun. ChatGPT or AI is not meant to mentor, in my opinion. You can't become good at what you do by relying on something else to do your work. You can talk it out with people and learn, but you have to do in order to become good at it, period. And I'm worried that as sophisticated as AI becomes with the input of accurate information, that it will easily be able to produce a product 10 years from now that will be a pretty damn good product. And therefore, even putting in the prompts won't need to be so expert based. And then we're basically turning over to AI the justice system.
Robot lawyers.
That's what I'm worried about. We won't have people who are fully and properly trained in that area. And then do we turn justice over to computers? I'm telling you, that is my doomsday worry. It really is. And it's, efficiency is not always the best thing. It's not like I charge clients every single thing I do. I never have. If I did, I would be far better off financially, but I don't. But that's the fucking fun in this, is the working of a problem and developing it on your own and your brain working, and we're talking and we're yelling at each other and we're figuring out, we're writing on a board. Having a computer system do that will dumb the lawyers and will eventually eliminate the lawyers and will turn it over to a computer system. Like, you can imagine one day that you could design an AI to be a judge.
Okay.
To have all of the scenarios ever litigated from year 1 to 2055.
Already has them.
And it may be in a position to hear a case and render a decision.
Well, it's doing that. My client, I told you, I had the client who typed in the fact scenario.
Yeah, but it was a bullshit analysis. So,
Well,
but I'm saying,
garbage in, garbage out.
but 20 years from now, it may not rely so much on garbage in. It may
filter it. Be able to
be
filter.
able to have so much accurate information uploaded at a robust database of accurate information, scenarios, cases, etc., that it can draw on that and evolve to the point that it will be able to render a decision
Nuanced decisions.
properly.
Yeah, I don't think 20 years, you're too far out, man. I'd say closer to five.
I'm worried about the
5
replacement
years.
of humanity in a system that is very much based on humanity. And some people looking might say, well, humans are it up all the time. I mean, we've got false allegations, we've got bias in the system, we've got discrimination, we've got this. AI could maybe root all that out. I'm like, well, just look at Terminator.
Well, let me play devil's advocate on that point. It's kind of like when I was a little kid, my parents would always take me to the car dealerships because I'm a car nut. And the car salesman would hate me because I would know so much more about the cars they were trying to sell. You're going to be in that same scenario, and you're going to see competition amongst the landscape of lawyers who really know their stuff, irrespective of whether they're using AI or not. So your tool that you're going to use, you need to be able to argue and explain why what you're drafting is accurate and why you're a better representative of your clients. Like, why do people go to you? You know why people go to you? For the same reason
My
they
hair
watch
color.
this? Because they like you. No, because they like you.
Maybe.
Business is all about personal relationships. right? That's just how
Look,
business is.
to me, you know,
It's the same thing.
what one of the biggest assets to me as being a criminal lawyer, as having retail experience. You know, I used to, when I was hiring, you know, looked for people who were in retail before when they were students, when they were 17, 18, because you have to learn how to interact with people. That's right. It's sales. That's right. Exactly. We can be brilliant researchers and brilliant drafters, but if you ain't got that personality to deliver, you know, you're not going to be that successful unless maybe you're in the Court of Appeal only.
My closest and one of my oldest friends is a pretty prominent lawyer in Miami. And I remember him telling me many years ago, he said, yeah, my job is to make sure there's money coming in. I have to run the business. Yeah, I'm a lawyer, but I spend most of my time running a business. And you're the same way, except you just happen to do dual duty. Exactly.
Look, we all depend on this. We have homes, we have children. I just dropped one off at university. I mean, we have to pay for this like anybody else. There's no difference between us, a restaurant, a grocery store, a dental office. We're all businesses. But we're also the machinery in the business. And we happen to be, we consider ourselves fortunate enough to do something that we love over 30 years, and we feel that we're making a difference. So that's great. I'm just worried about the future. I think AI has specific roles, and I agree with you. You know, you have to really learn how to use it. I haven't used it at all, and I would be horrible at trying to use it, but I'm certain that it will be, you know, an invaluable tool.
You would be amazing at using it. You know why? Because you're excellent at cross-examining. And if you're good at cross-examining, then you'll be an expert at prompting an AI and instructing it what you want it to output.
It's not like QuickLaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm wondering, it's like, you know...
Which is an online database, folks. Just
Yeah, no, I get it. But it's like, you know... I like doing the work.
You're so analog. As we can check file the file.
I know, but I like doing the work, and I think, you know, I'd be interested what people say, like, you know, the people out there who watch this and who are potential, you know, people who are clients, say, what do they want? Well, of course they want to try and win. Okay, they want success at the end of the day. Whatever will give me the best success. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, do they want to ensure that it's a human doing this?
I was going to say, they want the human comfort. They want the touch. They want to know we're looking after
their case.
So,
but we would do it, but let's say, you know, we're relying heavily on a product that AI has helped us, let's say 3, 4, 5 years from now.
Closer to 3, but go on.
I got to tell you, I mean, we've done it ourselves. We've worked with excellent lawyers, you know, drafting those factums yourself based upon your research, even if it's AI assisted, I just don't think should be supplanted. That's just my opinion.
What if you presented to your clients, if this is imaginary data, this is not real data, but what if you present to them?
I'm not going to do it. Because I'm not going to do it, but whatever.
No, but what if you found out that when you implemented AI, you were, I don't know, 50% more efficient and you won 10% more cases versus when you just did, I'm not saying that's what's happening, right? Just, you know, as a thought exercise. If you saw the data that showed you, I'm saving money, we're more efficient, we're saving money for our clients, and we're more successful in cases when we're utilizing this tool along with what we're doing, would that convince you to say maybe we should implement it?
Well, I think I'd have
hypothetical.
To. I owe that obligation to the client.
Right.
And I think that's where we're going.
I owe the obligation to the client to do things in a more efficient way.
Yeah.
And I owe an obligation to a client to try and be more successful.
Yeah.
Period.
So I think it's kind of like with most arguments in life, the economics always wins. And I think it's just a matter of time. It's inevitable.
So it may be just unique to what we do in criminal law. Because a lot of what we do, a computer or an AI cannot, it can help with certain things, but certain things I just don't think it can evolve to the level that it could really help us in that regard. Like,
you know, there are people watching this screaming at the screen
right now. I can hear the screams.
All the developers are screaming.
The silent
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Yeah, no,
I'm just saying
I would challenge any of them to try and construct a really good cross-examination of a particular complainant on a particular set of facts and win the case.
Yeah.
Because it's not something AI is generated to do.
Yeah, it's just an additional tool to help you be more efficient.
It still won't have that wealth of experience, that lived experience.
No.
You can't put that in there.
It has the wealth of and experience of the person who's prompting it.
Right.
That's the whole point. If you learn how to structure the prompt
If
properly,
I were to spend that much time prompting it, I could probably do the cross in half the time.
You could,
Myself.
but you'd have.
There's something unique.
He doesn't like.
There's
it,
something unique. There's something unique about, and you know what? Our regular viewers are probably already stopped watching, or they can't stand us.
or what the hell's this BJ guy doing up
Well,
there?
one of our producers, but politically incorrect. But
don't
you know
unsubscribe.
AI. You guys work with AI much more efficiently than we do.
Yeah.
And so you're here helping us
I have no
with
choice
this.
at this point. I don't have a choice.
But I think we're at a crossroads now
yeah.
where we're going to see AI become much more involved in the legal business
for sure.
and more involved in criminal law. And it presents to me a challenge, and I think it presents a possible injustice issue. And I think we have to be careful and responsible. I say this very carefully because I have concerns always of there's a lot of excellent criminal lawyers out there. We have in Canada and Ontario, which I'm most familiar with, but we should be very proud about the excellence of our bar. We really do have a lot of excellent lawyers. But some will always try and find a shortcut.
Which is what I was going to get to argue your point. So back to my friend Charlie as an example. He once said to me many years ago, he said, as successful as I've been, I could have been way more successful. And he gave me an example. He had, it was just after 9/11. He had a family come to meet him from Saudi Arabia. They wanted to get a visa to move to the United States. And Charlie's Moroccan background, so he understands that part of the world. Yeah. And he says, I'm sorry, you're just not going to get in. And they said, why? He said, right now things are politically tense. This is just the way things are right now. You're going to get denied. Everything from certain countries right now is being denied. I'm not saying I support it. That's just the reality. And they said, but we saw another lawyer and he said if we just give him $10,000, then it's no problem. He said, yeah, you'll give him $10,000. He'll take your money, submit the application. When you're denied, you'll say, well, sorry, too bad. Yeah. And I think that's where the problem's going to be with the lawyers that are just out there to turn as much money as possible. Utilize this tool, automate it, just draft the case in AI, submit it. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, I don't care, on to the next one. I think that's more of where the danger is in misusing AI in the legal profession.
No, I agree with that. I mean, we're in the situation where, of course, we need to make a living, and we like to make a living, and we might like to make a good living. We do a tremendous amount of work that we never bill for, and we are very meticulous about the product that we have. There are those who are looking at the bottom line more and will do whatever's necessary to try and make it easier for themselves, win or lose. And then clients lose. Right. And we see that now, especially when we get calls on appeals. I'm worried that this can lead to not only an abuse of that, but also to a generation from now having lawyers who are really not equipped to do the work.
It'll become the McDonald's of criminal law.
No, but maybe. But,
I was thinking Walmart.
Well, Walmart probably, yeah.
Walmart's taking Amazon for a run now. I tell you, its stock's going up. They're doing a good job with their online work and everything. Yeah. Walmart's been a damn good business, but leaving that aside, I love stocks. But anyways, I worry about where we go. I think you could say this in many fields, right? You could say this in medicine as well. Like, certainly AI could be extremely helpful in diagnosis, early detection of cancers. They could read a radiology, whatever, probably more accurately than the human eye. We have AI in that now. 10 years from now, the testing and diagnosis of it may be just exponentially more accurate and better.
It'll be doing the surgeries.
Well, then that's the next thing. Like
It's not
all
that
those,
far away.
like, you see in...
Well, LASIK eye surgery, right? Most of that's computerized now.
Yeah, but you have a doctor there.
Of course.
Right? You have a doctor there. And, but, you're right. You can,
But I think in those professions...
It's like you see in Star Wars, it's the robot making the delivery from Leia, from Padme. Luke, Leia, the robot's handing it out.
In those professions, I think we're going to go, in, at least for a long period of time, we're going to be like aviation, where everything is automated, but a pilot is observing it. If you fly any of the Airbus planes, it's a difference of philosophy of Airbus and Boeing. Boeing, the pilot's flying it. Airbus, the plane is flying itself, and the pilot's there as a backup. You're never going to see, at least I don't think so, going into a doctor's office or an optician to get laser eye surgery.
That's an ophthalmologist.
Ophthalmologist, sorry. Where you're just going to sit down in front of a computer at a vending machine, put in your quarters, swipe your credit card, and no, I think there's always going to be somebody there overseeing it.
Well,
and maybe,
I hope.
And maybe
I hope
that's something for the law societies to look into to prevent this problem from getting out of hand now, to figure out what's going to be the guidelines of implementing AI within your law firm.
Yeah, well, they're on it now.
They're on it.
Are
They've
they?
done guidelines. You know, at the end of the day, we're responsible for the product, no matter who generates it.
Yeah, and I think responsible lawyers will be very careful to make sure of it. I just don't want to see a future where people's outcomes are so important. Medicine, death, criminal law, long jail sentence, a ruined life, where the human element of it is removed. I want to see that remain.
But you'll never have that, because there are people that just, like yourself, you're actually not bad, but there are people who are very, very skeptical of technology and don't want technology. They want things to be more analog. Like, there's a movement going on right
so
now.
Funny, a certain judge, who I won't name, I appear in front of and I take out my leather binder that I've had since 1993.
Yeah.
I've got my binder of disclosure, and basically said to me, I'm old school. I'll tell you now, we have young lawyers. I don't allow any of them to litigate off their laptop. I will take it and throw it out the door.
Or what about an iPad?
No. They all will have binders. They will have a laptop with the disclosure on it and a hard copy. And I don't care what anybody says. If you want to learn how to do criminal law and you want to learn how to defend, you want to learn how to cross-examine, you're not going to be doing it by flipping open your Apple and going, so you consented to the sex, yes? No, I didn't. Okay.
Let me ask ChatGPT.
Hold on one second. Hold on. I got to scroll up to my next question.
My Wi-Fi died.
What do you think?
I'm sorry. There may be others who are out there and much more efficient than me and look at me like I'm a f***ing dinosaur. I don't think I'm wrong. I think it just gets you to that level. But that said, I embrace technology. I moved on from DOS.
Amazing. Wow.
I moved on from DOS.
I think Grace told me the story when you first got a mouse. You held it up and said, "What the hell do I do with this?"
No, she will tell you a story.
And that was last week.
Yeah, well,
Grace has been with us now since
Forever.
1998, right?
Okay.
So, we had DOS-based systems, and then when I switched and I went to Microsoft, I was screaming at the computer because the whole setup was so alien to me and everything. But look, you get along with it, you learn it, you use it, and you implement it, and technology is extremely helpful, especially when we're dealing with video evidence and all sorts of other stuff, and there's great ways to integrate it, and many lawyers are so much better. They can create compilations, they play it in the courtroom, they're doing a better job than me doing that. And I've got people in the office who can help that. So I'm all over all that. I just think that the innate skills that we have after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years of doing 25 trials in front of a jury and 100 trials in the court judge alone and doing all this, all that shit you learn yourself is stuff that you need to do yourself. And there's something about doing that research, doing that writing, figuring out the drafting, knowing where commas go. It's so important.
But that's like you're just creating a data set, like you said.
Yeah.
You're creating a data set which you will then upload to the cloud. Oh no.
Right, but that will mean 20 years from now, we won't look, I don't want to be practicing 20 years from now, but leaving that aside, I think it will eliminate people like us. I just think it will be. And I think buyer beware. I don't think a potential client will be well served by having a lawyer who simply has so much invested in the technology. They will have an insufficient experience base.
I'm not that doomsday about it. I think what you'll see is...
Really, you think I'm wrong?
No, I don't think you're wrong.
No, I disagree with...
Yeah, no.
You won't be the first person.
I think what you'll see smaller firms will have their paralegals will run a series of AI data sets depending on what the cases are, and they'll use that to start compiling a defense. And for the interview process, maybe the interview will be with an AI and a paralegal.
Yeah, see,
And,
but
you know-
in criminal law, it's not the cases that help the defense. I mean, sure, in some instances, is this self-defense? Does it fit within the definition of self-defense or provocation or whatever? A lot of it is factually driven and
Right.
and storytelling and
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
creating the narrative that you're not looking at cases. It's the human element.
No, I was going to say it's the human touch. We need
Yeah,
that.
but back to the aviation thing, you'll have a paralegal working with AI and somebody like yourself, who's the one running the business, bringing the clients in, will be overseeing that entire process.
We're just going to get a different version of the rough draft.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen.
I just don't think that's going to work.
You know what we're never going to have? We're never going to have fax machines. Email? Who needs email? I can just get mail on paper.
Look, people talking to their phone.
You have a fax machine? You still have a fax machine?
we still have a
we
fax
do.
machine.
Is it like an art piece? Or
No,
is it utilized?
oddly enough, there are still some places
Yeah, I
that
know.
require you to
I
fax
know, I'm
them.
just being a pain.
No,
In the
no,
government,
but I
in the
mean, it really
government,
is obsolete. I
Yeah,
mean,
no,
it's obsolete, but there are still some, and I like those faxes that come through at 2:00 in the morning.
He likes this.
It's exciting.
Where it's
yeah,
like they're
he's
trying to
saying-
sell you, I don't know what.
He's watching a movie from the 1990s.
Right,
What about you? You've used ChatGPT. What
Yeah,
are
I
your
think
thoughts?
great. I think there's a lot of future in it. I'm going to start trying to use it more, leverage it more. But again, for basic,
Just don't tell Joseph.
I won't. Oh, God, no. He'll smash the laptop. No, basic preliminary tasks, right? Like,
Yeah.
okay, here's a data set. What do you think?
I'll give you some advice. Open whatever notes software you
Right.
use. Just create a series of different prompts.
Right.
And just
Okay,
start
define
copying
prompts
pasting.
for everybody because they may not know what you're talking about. What's a prompt?
A prompt is just the query that you're putting into. It's what you're asking the
It's the
AI.
question.
Yeah, but there's a system for prompting it, so it gives you the right answers.
Right.
Then you got to play with it a little bit, right? So yeah, it understands natural language.
Right.
But as you use it more and more, you'll understand where its weaknesses are,
Of course.
and you'll start
Just like mine.
yeah, like developers use this all the time. They'll generate prompts that are 6 pages long,
Right.
and they'll have worked on it for I don't know a month, let's say, trying to test it and whatever. But the idea is, then they can output thousands of hours of work of development
Right.
work with it once they get the prompt fine-tuned.
So I can see it as a brainstorming tool.
yeah,
For example, remember the olden days? There used to be all those software.
it's very good for
tools.
building a template.
Right.
So you want to
We
do
do lots
defense,
of templates.
it creates your template,
Yeah, no, 100%.
and that's where you start from,
Yeah.
right? But
starting point only. Still need our touch.
yeah, but it's a template on steroids, right? So it'll have arguments in it. It'll have the names of your clients if you put in it. Like it's more than just a template.
Soon it's going to just debate it with us
Yeah.
and tell us why we're
Well,
wrong.
you told us it's debating with itself, right?
Well, in that video, we'll see if we find a copy of it. But
well, there's two AIs talking to each other.
oh yeah, there's also a video out there of two AIs talking. I can't remember what they prompted, but they're going back and forth. And because of the subject matter, one of the AIs started having anxiety and was getting very upset. So turn me off. I don't want this conversation anymore.
Wow.
Really freaky.
That is freaky.
Well, but that just goes to show you how far it can go, that it will develop its own consciousness.
Its own neuroses.
Its own neuroses,
gonna
like the
need a
rest
shrink.
of us.
Well, I think that's the other thing.
AI
that
shrink.
the misunderstanding that we think AI is intelligent. I think it's just going to show that, no, we're just very predictable and we're not all nearly as intelligent as we think we are.
Oh, I don't doubt that.
Yeah.
All you need to do is just look at the world today and you go,
I see a lot of
yeah, no, we're
stupidity.
like I said, I used to worry a lot about climate change. I'm not worried. I don't think
No.
our species will survive long
Yeah, we
enough
won't be there.
to ruin the earth any further. I
No.
just think we're going to just implode.
Yeah.
Unless we start to figure things out and change the culture.
Well, we'll talk about that next time.
Yeah.
And our next
Anything else you
episode.
want to say about AI? Because
tell
because
me.
this is important and it's coming down the pipe.
It's here. It's here.
And it's going to play a larger role in law, and it's going to play a large role in criminal law. And I think we got to be really, really careful.
And ready.
And what the law societies have said is you're responsible for your own product.
Right.
So you got to be absolutely sure it's accurate. So you're not giving cases that don't exist, arguments that are completely wrong. You have to be the one who ensures the accuracy of your product, whatever you use.
Right.
you know,
Right. Yeah.
which is fair.
Yeah, that's fair.
But it's here.
It's here. Tell me something. Is it currently like Google where there's one product, or you talked about multiple platforms? So are these all competitors right now?
Well, there's DuckDuckGo.
That's only if you want to use VoIP.
Well, I'm not saying it's only Google. You
true.
can do DuckDuckGo.
Yes, you can. You just like saying DuckDuckGo.
Dude, I would never, like, if you want to create an alternative to Google, think of a better name.
Right.
No offense, guys, but like, you know, DuckDuckGo.
What about Grok on Twitter? You have AI on your
Yeah, yeah.
Twitter account. You
Of
can use
course,
that.
yeah.
So Grok is really good for generating images. For some reason, I think it uses Dolly, which is part of OpenAI. It's their image generator.
Not related to the duck, by the way.
Yeah,
Okay.
but however it communicates, like I was prompting it with Corvettes,
Right.
car person, and it's the first AI I found that actually can distinguish between a 1963 Corvette and a 1964 Corvette. It's the first one, and it's pretty accurate. It was quite great. There's all sorts of
So there's no one source. OpenAI is a source, but it's not the
yeah, they have
source.
network effect because they were the first one.
Right.
But I would argue that Claude is probably better, Anthropic, because it can think a little bit more conceptually compared to ChatGPT, although
Who designed that one, Claude?
Anthropic is the name of the company, another Silicon Valley startup. And then there's all the video, audio AIs.
But again, multiple competitors. So there's no
There's
standards.
many of them, and there will always be many of them. And it's similar to, remember the search engine races? The search engine
Oh my God, yeah.
Of course. Alta Vista, everybody's
God.
using Alta Vista, and
Yeah.
then Google, we're at exactly the same period in AI in the very beginning, where everybody's just clamoring for dominance in the market. And I don't know that that ChatGPT will maintain dominance in the market. They just have network effect.
Well, right now, look, it's got a catchy name. It's the one that first came up into media.
I don't think it's a catchy name. It's got a name people can't pronounce. ChatGPT. Everybody,
I don't know. I think
stumbles
the
over
kids
the
were all
words.
using it. You know, it was running rampant in high school, ChatGPT. But anyways, all right. So I'll just say this in closing. You know, I'm not going to be my naysayer. Hey, Mars. You know, it's a powerful tool which
been
allows
very
lawyers to experiment with generating legal documents and provide succinct answers to complex questions. But given the serious risks of inaccuracy or imaginary information, lawyers and legal professionals are strongly cautioned to review and double-check the work. You are the one responsible for
Aren't
it.
you supposed to do that with all your work?
Yeah.
So how is AI any different?
But bump. On that note,
I'll tell you why, because you have to do it, but I'm doing the legal work. I got the case in front of me. I'm reading it. I'm typing it out. I'm redrafting, and I'm doing it. This is spit out to you.
Yeah.
So you got to make sure you double check that, which means, frankly, you got to go back to the research. So it's to me, it's double the work.
Well, that would be Scott's argument that he says it makes everything take 6 times longer.
I think it does right
might
now,
be.
but if it doesn't make everything longer, there's a problem, because we owe this obligation to our clients and to the courts as officers of the courts to make sure we give as much of an accurate product as possible. We will have different arguments. We're not going to agree on everything, but accuracy is vital, and you've got to go back to basics to make sure what product it spits out. Anyway, I think I've exhausted my negativity on it, but this was a good topic.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us, BJ.
thank you.
My pleasure.
Pillow talk.
Well, he's the guest. He gets
Yes,
the pillow.
I get the pillow.
Can you pillow talk tonight?
But by the
there's
way,
comments, though. He's got his own comment.
yeah, I didn't sanction these pillows. You did this while I was away. It's supposed to be like, share, subscribe, and you don't want to promote comments because then people are just going to yell at you. They'll just give their comments.
Lately, the comments have been really great.
I know the support has been good, which is unusual for YouTube. That's sign of good, steady growth.
And we get such good questions. Like, people say, somebody wrote, this was a bit complex for me. Can you readdress it in another podcast? I print it out.
Yeah.
I got excellent, you know. Yeah. I still haven't got on to the Online Harms Act. We're going to do that.
That's soon.
But again, keep the comments and the questions coming, because it gives us ideas, and I want to address what people want to listen to.
What are the 3 words?
Like, share, and subscribe.
Thank you. Okay, good.
All right,
We
good night,
finally
everybody.
got that down.
In right order? Did he do the right order?
Yes, he did.
Oh, wow. I'm
Right
impressed.
on. Okay, good night. Thank you very much.